Good afternoon and welcome to a 4 o'clock update. My name is Mark Masai. Now, Kenya Human Rights Commission officials say the move by the NGO's board to deregister the NGO is ill-intentioned and meant to keep it from filing a petition against President Kenyatta's win. The officials say the deregistration attempt is the third and will not be allowed unchallenged.
In what is a recurring trend, KHRC has been condemned and heard by the NGO Coordination Board in clear violation of the Constitution as well as statutory and procedural provisions on this matter. The KHRC in fact sought legal redress on these matters, specifically in 2015, and obtained a clear judgment of the High Court in Kenya Human Rights Commission versus the NGO Coordination Act, that is a suit that we filed in 2016. In the case, Justice Louis Onguto found that the failure of the NGO Coordination Board to either give notice or a hearing to the Kenya Human Rights Commission before arriving at a decision to cancel its registration was a violation of its constitutional right, and that this failure was compounded when the NGO board failed to furnish written reasons to the KHRC when the organization wrote asking for such reasons. It is therefore a travesty of justice that the NGO Coordination Board, and in particular Mr. Fazul Mohammed, would insist on flagrant abuse of office in total disregard of the KHRC's constitutional right and the authority of the courts.
On the same issue, the Anglican Church of Kenya has condemned the deregistration of two non-governmental organizations, the Kenya Human Rights Commission and AFRICOG, were deregistered for allegedly failing to pay taxes and having illegal bank accounts. ACK Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit has urged the government to review these decisions.
Maybe the NGO board might have a reason of deregistering these civil society groups. But we are saying their timing is not right, because when we hear things happening very fast, in a time like this is a time that we need some soberness so that we can be able to approach a peace that we are so much desiring in this country. As to the comments and sentiments that are coming from leaders targeting certain individuals or offices, we are saying again the timing is not the best. So can we all restrain as leaders in pointing accusing fingers, especially when you are pointing an accusing finger on somebody probably based on where they come from in this country, because this will not help us move the nation forward. We are calling for an audit of the entire process, from registration, from managing the register, how we do procurement for the ballot papers, because you can imagine how it was being done in a rush. And we are saying this audit can inform the reforms that IEBC need to undertake in future to avoid a crisis of rushing things the last minute, which will create turmoil in the country. So we are not saying an audit of the tallying of the votes. We are not saying that should be an investigation by the court if somebody go to court. But what we are saying is an audit of how did IEBC prepare itself, how did it perform, and that's what we are saying. If we do that early enough, we don't wait until 2021 for us to begin to rush in a rush hour. Why don't we learn from the process of how we conducted the elections 2017 so that we begin to put in mechanisms before 2022, which will help us avoid the kind of situation we have been engaged in.
NASA leader Raila Odinga will address Kenyans tomorrow on the post-election issues he has raised. A statement from NASA principal Musalia Mudavadi states that the postponement of today's scheduled address by Raila Odinga has been necessitated by the complexity and delicate nature of the issues the NASA summit is handling. Mudavadi, however, says the consultations are ongoing and progressing well, but have taken longer than anticipated. And with that, we'll be following the latest on that. And even as the government issued a directive for workers to go back to work, nurses at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret vowed not to do so until their needs are met. Led by the Kenya National Union of Nurses branch chairperson there, Kennedy Orangi, the nurses said they would only return to work once the collective bargaining agreement CBA has been implemented. They claimed that the hospital had resorted to hiring inexperienced nurses who were offering poor services to patients, an allegation which has been dismissed by the MTRH Chief Executive Officer Dr. Wilson Arwasa.
Ni wale wenye wako kwa mgomo. Sisi tungali mgomo, na hiyo imaanishi kwamba tumeenda against chenye serikali inasema. Sisi tuko mgomo na mgomo wetu ni legally binding. Now that we have a government in place, Mairu is there, SRC is there, our president-elect is there, our deputy is there. So we want them to come out stronger and indeed give a solution to this strike, nationally and county levels.
Kisoni Member Parliament-elect Ali Menzambogo has promised to work to eradicate the drugs menace in the constituency as well as insecurity and joblessness. Speaking at NTV's Mombasa studios, Mbogo decried the low levels of education in Kisauni and extended an olive branch to Rashid Bedzimba, who lost in the general election. He asked him to join and work together with him for the benefit of Kisauni residents.
My first 100 days basically will be first to identify, like what I've said, to identify, the key issues. Like we have the challenge of education in Kisauni. The education levels are very low. We have very few schools in Kisauni. We have the issue of the drug abuse, the drug menace. We have the issue of insecurity in Kisauni. Yeah, so me and my team, what we're planning to do is first we need to identify most of the utility plots that are there that we can be able to use for the purposes of development.
That's just from one of the members of Parliament-elect. We'll be hearing soon from the governors-elect, and the swearing-in of the 47 governors will take place from the 17th to the 24th of this month. The Ministry of Devolution and Planning says arrangements are already in shape in all the counties for smooth transition where new governors will be taking office. The ministry says that all send-off packages for governors who were not re-elected will have to be done according to the law, and that petitions will not affect the transitions unless ordered by the court. The ministry also says that governors who are facing audit queries and have lost their re-election bids will still be summoned before the relevant bodies.
See, anybody who has questions to answer, he must continue answering those questions. The law is clear. They were not answering those questions as individuals. They were answering as governors responsible of their counties. If there is any allegation, corruption, or any other allegation, they must continue answering those questions. And the law must take its course. So there is nothing that stops the parliamentary committee going ahead to summon them. They will be summoned as the holders of that office, not as individuals.
The election petition for the president doesn't take office until it's concluded. That's not the case for governors or members of parliament or senators. They assume office unless a court says otherwise. But the president, the moment it is filed, that stops the president from taking office. And the time is limited. The time for the president's petition is limited. But the petition for governors and members of parliament and senators and members of county assemblies are the traditional petitions, where you file and the case is heard and the court determines whether you are holding that office or not. But in the meantime, those officers, state officers, take up office once they are lawfully elected.
Every county was making its own preparations. Might be the committee that sat in and organized for that, might be to the feeling of the governor, Sonko, might be he would like to do it in a more simpler way. So each and every governor will decide on the expenditure. But what is what cannot be decided by the governor, what is constitutional mandate, for example, allowances that are set in by the regulations, then that must continue. But the governor can decide, I'll be sworn in my office and there is no ceremony. And that we have nothing to do with it.
Away from the politics and the transitions expected, some good news. Team Kenya head coach Julius Kirua has described the 16th edition of the IAAF World Championships in London as one of the toughest ever, but they did well. Kenya finished second with 11 medals, 5 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronze as the United States topped the medal standings. The team that arrived home to a heroic reception attributed the low performance to injuries on athletes. Elijah Manangoi, who won the men's 1500 meters, as well as silver medalist Timothy Cheruiyot, marathon gold and silver medalist Geoffrey Kirui and Edna Kiplagat, were part of the 18 athletes that arrived back early Tuesday morning. The likes of Helen Obiri, who won gold in the women's 5,000 meters, Conseslus Kipruto, winner in the men's 3,000 meters steeplechase, and Faith Chepngetich, gold medalist in the women's 1500 meters, proceeded to Birmingham for Friday's Diamond League.
It's sports, and but I have a positive mind. I will come stronger. TC, I didn't perform so well. Maybe many people are so disappointed, but I'm okay. I will come back stronger.
I think I'm going home by like 1 month and come back to training. And I'm really happy about my coach. We are going to settle down to how to run next season races like 1, 2, 3. And I'm looking forward to run faster next season.
Matarajio yangu ilikuwa kwamba ni Mungu anisaidie nisinde medali, alafu nione way forward kitu yenye nitafanya hapo mbele, kama nitaenda kukimbia mecha moja before end of this year.
Nilikuwa natarajia nipate gold, lakini niliona ilikuwa ngumu kidogo, sababu wakimbiaji wote ambao tulikuwa tunakimbia na wao walikuwa wamechakuliwa the best from all their countries, na ninafurahia sana kupata hiyo nambari ya pili.
We need to back up. We need to back up. Same applies to 5,000. 5,000 we are in a problem. Even 10,000. When the 3 guys decide today and say they are not going to participate, we will never take any athlete to represent the country. So we have a problem. I agree with you. We have a problem that we need to solve.
But still, Team Kenya did us proud. We're very proud of them, make us happy and represent us in the global scene. And that's it for NTV News at 4. More news at 7 and 9. Join us then. Good afternoon.